Hello YouTube, it is CN Maritime History here back in another video. And today I will be talking about the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal, which was a canal which connected Pennsylvania and Maryland together. Let's begin. In the 1820s, seeking raw materials from and trade with Pennsylvania's interior counties, residents of the large port city of Baltimore, Maryland favored building a canal on the lower Susquehanna between Chesapeake Bay and Pennsylvania's main line of public works at Columbia, Pennsylvania, which is across the river from Wrightsville, where the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal would be built. Residents of the rival port city of Philadelphia, fearing the loss of trade to Baltimore, argued against the proposal. In 1829, completion of the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal across the isthmus south of Philadelphia resolved the impasse by shortening the water link between Havre de Grace, I think I said that right, and Philadelphia to 74 miles. Since this was only 20 miles further by water than from Havre de Grace to Baltimore, the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canals benefited from both cities. In 1835, the Susquehanna Canal Company of Pennsylvania joined the Tidewater Canal Company of Maryland, that's why it's named the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal, in privately funding and building the canal. Construction began in 1836 and was finished 4 years later in 1840. Despite toll collections rising from $42,000 in its first year to about 4 times that amount by 1850, the canal company faced money problems. Construction cost a total of $3.5 million, with only $1.25 million in startup capital. The company had borrowed heavily and struggled to pay off its debts. After 1855, toll revenue fell, flood damage, railroad competition, and the disruptions of the Civil War hastened the decline. In 1872, the company sold its assets to the Philadelphia and Reading Railway Company, which used the canal to haul coal to Baltimore until 1894, during the Reading's first receivership caused by the Panic of 1893. The Panic of 1893 might be a topic of a separate video. I don't know about that yet, but it was a monetary depression in which the company, in which the country would later recover, but it had similar effects as to the Great Depression, although not as severe in most cases. Pennsylvania Railroad opened the Columbia and Port Deposit Railroad across the river in 1877. The canal had 29 locks, overcoming 231 feet of elevation, or 70 meters. At Wrightsville and the Columbia-Wrightsville Canal Basin, it connected with the Pennsylvania Canal's Eastern Division, part of the main line of public works, which is based in Columbia. Cargo included coal, lumber, grain, and iron, much of it bound for Baltimore and Philadelphia. Boats passed through a waylock at York Furnace, where tolls were paid. Teams of mules walked on tow paths beside the canal and pulled the boats. At the upper terminus, across the river from Columbia, a wooden bridge with a 2-tier tow path allowed mules going in opposite directions to cross the Susquehanna River somewhat simultaneously without colliding with each other. From the canal outlet at Havre de Grace, tullies pulled the boats to Baltimore or other destinations. Mules on the Baltimore boats waited in Havre de Grace for the return journey, while boats bound for Philadelphia took their mules with them to use on the next towpath canal. Long before the opening of the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal, the Maryland legislature of 1783, hoping to open a reliable trade route on the lower Susquehanna River, had granted the charter to a company of 40 men, mostly from Baltimore, to build a canal just called the Susquehanna Canal. Sorry, I can't talk today. James Brindley, who lived from 1740. Okay, I don't know what that was, but let's finish the video. James Brindley, who lived from 1745 to 1820, was the chief engineer for the project until it was suspended in 1786 for lack of funds. The proprietors of the Susquehanna Canal, as the company was called, succeeded by 1802 in opening a canal of 9 miles, or 14 kilometers, along the eastern bank of the river from the Chesapeake Bay to the Pennsylvania state line. The proprietors hoped the Pennsylvania legislature would allow an extension on the other side of the state line. However, no canal below Columbia, Pennsylvania was approved by Pennsylvania until after the opening in 1829 of the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal. It cut across the northern isthmus of the Delmarva Peninsula and made a lower Susquehanna Canal more appealing to Philadelphia. A combination of high costs, faulty construction, and low revenues led the proprietors to sell the Susquehanna Canal at a loss in 1817 and it was abandoned entirely in 1840 when the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal opened on the opposite side of the river. The Susquehanna Canal was also known as the Port Deposit Canal or the Conewango Canal, not to be confused with the Conewago Canal upstream near York Haven. Remnants of the canal can be seen in Susquehanna State Park in Harford County, Maryland, 3 miles northwest of Havre de Grace. As part of the southern terminal, Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal Historic District was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Susquehanna Museum in Havre de Grace has restored the lock house and other infrastructure at the southern terminus of the canal. On the Pennsylvania side, lock number 12 has been preserved by PPL along Pennsylvania Route 372 at the south end of the Norman Wood Bridge across the Susquehanna River. A footpath along the river leading from Lock 12 passes under Highway Route 372 to the ruins of Lock 13. Lock 14, however, unfortunately no longer exists. Lock 15 has been preserved and is accessible by car 1.5 miles south of Lock 12 along River Road, where can be found interpretive panels about the canal operation. Lock 11, which was removed, was located at the spillway of the Holtwood Dam, which is where the kayaks are. And as a corporate entity, the corporation known as the proprietors of the Susquehanna Canal, which built the original canal, which, would later fail, as I said, still exists, having been purchased by the Philadelphia Electric Company, and now owned by the Philadelphia Electric Company's successor, Exelon. Its rights as a Maryland corporation dating to 1783 allowed the construction of the Conewango Dam. And that's it. That is the story of the Susquehanna and Tidewater Canal. And you may ask how this relates to maritime history. It does. Sure, maybe it's not an ocean liner or an individual ship, but it helped many supplies get to various points of interest throughout the United States to build such vessels. Therefore, that is how I think this relates to maritime history, as well as it is built on water. But to be honest, my version of maritime history is anything that has something to do with either maritime shipping, cruises, ocean-going vessels, anything like that. Or even anything that has to do with them, like, I don't know, like if I did a video on ocean line, like an ocean steamship line's, one of their buildings or something, that would still relate to that. So that is how I think it relates to maritime history. And my next video will be in my other channel, Sea and Space History, on, Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. Hope you guys stay tuned to watch that. It should be out within the hour. See you guys. Bye.